Hi guys, I want to show you guys some chords that are, if you're just starting, I want you to learn some of these chords because some of the first position chords that you learn, um, I'm just going to say it, I'm not really trying to pick on anybody, but I'm being completely honest. From a guitar teacher or a book or a video are going to teach you, excuse me, what we call first position chords. And what happens is there's so many singers out there that are great and they get into these first position, the very first position chords, and on a more professional level, these chords are already being excluded because they sound, not in all cases, in country and folk and certain songs, these chords are necessary, but in more cases than not, they're not being used. I'm sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. Hang on a second. I think I can hear my dog. Alright, I'm good. I have these allergies, you guys. I can't breathe. Hear me wheezing. So, first of all, A major. If you learn it this way, this is a great A. If you've never played an A major before, boy, you're gonna hate me because this chord is not easy. We're not gonna hit this low fat string right here. We're only gonna play this second string from the top right here, just these bottom 5. And if you don't know this, boy, you're going to hate me for teaching it to you because when you first start learning the all chords, it's always hard. You have to work through it to get past that part. Trust me, it gets easier from there. It really does. So if you don't know an A major, all it is that I've got the this A string's open, which means no fingers on it. This next string, I'm putting my middle finger on the 2nd fret and pushing down. I'm using my ring finger on this is the D string. I'm using my ring finger on the G string underneath it, and I'm using my pinky, and they're on the B string, B. So I've got an open A here. And as you can see, I'm playing the bottom 5 strings. So let's come back over here. All 3 of these fingers are cramped in on the 2nd fret of the D string. See how it almost went flat? Because I'll tell you a little secret. The closer you can get this fingers to this fret without being on top of it, the clearer it comes out. So the further you get away, and right here, you have to push harder to make that come through. So that's why this A chord tends to go out on people, because their finger doesn't have the opportunity to do the minimal amount of work and be right here snuggled up next to the fret. In fact, it's way back here. This is what makes this chord just why it won't come through clear and everything sounds like it's clunking. It just takes practice, you guys, and you'll get it. It's just keep coming back. It's like typing. You know, you didn't type the very first time you ever sat down to type, and you know, if you've typed for a while, you don't even think about it. This is the same thing. So they're all crammed on the second fret, and the high E's open. So you're just going to have to push down really hard. I have my thumb coming up over the back of this neck, and I'm using this part of my hand to push in to the back of this neck. So I'm kind of strangle holding this neck with my thumb up this high. I'm not down here. I've got a hold of it like my whole hand is getting into this, so I can make sure that here on the D, G and B string, that those come out clean. And I have this high open. Now once you learn this A, another variation, which you're probably going to like me a little more now, or at least not hate me as much, is you can lift your pinky up and play A like this, which means it's identical over here. It's the bottom 5 strings, but it sounds like this. So it's really pretty. And you can also take this finger now, your middle finger that was way back here having a hard time playing, you can scoot it all up. You can put this up not on top of the fret, that'll kill it. It's got to be, it can't be on top of the fret, but it can be right next to it. And this can be right next to that. And you can use this as an A chord as well. A lot of people go with A. So both can be used as an A. This is a really pretty A right here. So if you're a songwriter, you don't have to play this A. You can play this A if you want. And I'm just basically so there's A. I'm going to go through open chords. That means any chord that I can teach that doesn't require barring, we're going to get into today. So we're going to get B out of the picture. I do have a link that I'm going to put, that I want you guys to go check out those chords, where I do teach an alternative to a B minor, which is, you guys really almost have to know it. This video is working in tandem with the one that I'm going to link below. You learn the chords on both of these, and I'm telling you right now, you're going to be able to not only write your own songs, but you're going to be able to accompany yourself and sound full. You're going to sound like a professional. You're going to sound, there isn't going to be any weakness, any weak link. Trust me. You're going to have it all covered. And it gets in a little deeper, and we will, but I'm just saying, these two videos together will take your playing to an absolute professional level. So anyway, so A, B, I've already talked a little bit about that on the other thing. C, I went through this like crazy on the other. I showed not only this chord, but I showed every variation. I'll show you a variation I didn't show that is so pretty that you can use it as a substitution for a C chord. So I'm giving you guys something new on this. Now this is not going to be necessarily the easiest chord to play, but this is in fact a C chord. So here's your regular position, and then we've got this. And normally I just play the 4 middle strings, but you can get away with throwing in that high one. The low E, you really don't want to play that. I can now because I'm playing an E. But what's going on here is, this is a substitution chord, meaning that, you know, you can play this. You can play this, or you can play this if you want. I'm slightly out of tune, you guys. I apologize for that. So we're going to bar this across the 4 middle strings because it's the only ones we're playing. We're going to put our middle finger down on the 7th, 8th fret of the B string, And we're going to take our pinky and put it way out here on the 10th fret on the D string. And the rest we're going to play. I never said this was an easy chord. And to stay within the parameters of keeping it true to a C, to hit this high E sounds nice. You can, but in reality, the 4 are directly related to C. So you can add this for flavor, but I would be musically not perfectly correct if I told you to add it. It's just whether you want to or not. So really, we're going to just look at the 4 chords, the 4 strings in the middle. And okay, let's move on. Again, because your finger is barred, you can play that. There's no rule against it. And instead of a C, you can play this. Sorry. So anyway, that's a great voicing because you can go from C here to A here. You can play C here, play C here again. Basically, instead of I'm going. So it's really pretty substitution. So, but the C chord and everything you need to know about it or could ever want, I really hope that you guys click on that thing, the link underneath and watch that video because there's so much knowledge about a C chord in there that could change the way that you write songs and the way that you sound when you play. D would just be like this. Again, the variations of this D chord, I would definitely click the link. I went through some variations of it that could expand how you want to play it. If you've never played a D chord before, I'm really only playing, believe it or not, people don't think that you can play this all 5, but you actually, most people just play the bottom 4 strings. But the reality is if you wanted to, you could play all 5. Because A is the first note in the D chord, so I don't know why it's so adamantly like don't only play the bottom 4. You can actually play the bottom 4 if you just want that. If you want a fuller sound, you can play the bottom 5. Or just the bottom 4. If you just play the bottom 4, it does land on a D note, and maybe that's why it's so important that's why it's taught that way. But anyway, the only thing that's going on here is my index finger is pushing down on the 2nd fret on the G string. My index finger is pushing down on the high E string on the 2nd fret, and my ring finger is pushing down on the 3rd fret on the B string. And again, you can play the bottom 4 or all 5, depending on what sound you want. So, E major, this is pretty much E major, and if you haven't learned it, let's go over it real quick. Your your middle finger is going to push down on the 2nd fret on the A string, and this finger, your index finger, is going to push down on the 2nd fret on your D string, and your first finger is going to push down on the 1st fret on your G string. You're going to play all 6 strings, and everything else is going to ring open. So that's E major. Now, if you already know this, you're looking for a really pretty E major. You can take your pinky in place of this, your index finger. You can place it up here on the 4th fret on the D string and play this E. So you have this E. If you really want a pretty E, you're just going to play the same. Conversely, if you're looking for a darker E major, you can take this finger, instead of moving it way up here, we're just going to take our pinky and we're going to put it in this index finger. Instead of it being right here, we're going to take our pinky and we're going to put it on the 2nd fret, but on the 3rd fret, and we're going to play this E. Now this is going to be kind of dark, almost Spanish sounding. So that's a choice. Here it's going to sound really pretty. Bring your pinky down here, it's going to sound kind of, I don't know, haunting or Spanish. And here it's going to sound like an E. So those would be some options around E. E minor, you just, same chord, you just lift this finger up. If you want a dark, eerie E minor, we're going to take, just like we took this finger and we moved it, we're going to, on the 3rd string, on the D string on the 4th fret, we're going to push down with our pinky or our index finger, whichever you prefer, and we're going to push down on the 2nd fret on the A string, and we're going to play this chord. So this is an E minor, all 6 strings. If I want a really dark E minor, I'm going to put my pinky, instead of it right here on the 3rd fret, the 2nd fret, I'm sorry, on the 3rd string or D string, it's going to be on the 4th fret on the D string. So if you're looking for that sound in a minor, you have it right there. G, I would play it 3rd fret, middle finger, 2nd fret, index finger on the A string. The 2 strings in the middle are going to be played open. Nothing's going to touch it. And the bottom 2 strings, lots of times people learn it like this. In country, it's played like that, and in folk, most other styles, it's played like this. Which means your index finger, your ring finger is going to go on the 3rd fret on the B string, and your pinky's going on the 3rd fret on the high E. And it's going to give you a nice full G. And you can jump from there to C. You know, and I'm going to save you guys from this F bar chord. Or this one. Because they're both not fun to play, and there's a really pretty variation of one that you can play. You're going to put your ring finger on the 3rd fret on your D string. The next string, the G string, you're going to play open. You're going to put your first finger on the 1st fret on the B string, and you're going to let the high E open ring open, so it's gonna sound like this. And I'm only playing the bottom 4. And you can play that instead of this. Or this. You can play this. I do. When an F comes rolling around the bend, unless it's so required that I play this really full, kind of bulky, or this sort of really just, I don't know, this chord, I definitely play this. Sometimes when I play G, I take the exact same instead of going here, instead of going F to G, I take this and I don't change the fingers. We're moving up 1 fret and now we're moving up 1 more. So I move everything up 2 frets, but it has the same, your fingers are in the same spots on the same strings. This is now on the 5th fret and this is now on the 3rd fret, but the same strings that are open, and sometimes I play a G like that. So we can go from F to G. That saves me this. So F, G. So you have this G now and you have this one. I'm only playing the bottom 4. I'm not playing the A and I'm not playing the E, just the bottom 4. So F, G. It's exactly the same as C, except these two fingers are. I thought we went over G. I don't know why. Yeah, we went over G. I'm sure of it. If not, I went over it in the other thing. Now, and then back to A again. Now, the reason that I'm putting up these chords is because singers, I've heard so many singers that have these beautiful voices, but they don't have really full, rich, full, colorful chords to accentuate their voice. And you have to understand, between this video and the other one, they work in conjunction. And I beg you to go through them both and learn the chord positions, because I normally don't toot my own horn. Okay, I normally don't, but I'm going to right now because this is how important it is. I don't even tell people who. It doesn't matter to me, but I have 5 students, okay, signed to major record labels. They've collectively sold over 40 million records. I'm thanked on I don't know how many millions of records for either recording on them, and the artists that I've played for. I have been doing this a long time. And I'm only saying that not to brag, but to encourage you to please, if you're going to accompany yourself, learn these chord voicings, because at the end of the day, you put in that extra work. It's the difference between you sounding like an amateur and you sounding like a pro when you go play somewhere. And that's just truly it, you guys. I mean, I can't make it, a lot of the first position chords that they absolutely have to be there for certain songs. So I'm not discounting them. I'm just saying they're being used when there's these other alternatives that are far more contemporary and are being used on the radio and being used by professionals and being used by, people on the radio are using these um, I don't want to tell you the albums I've recorded on, and I don't want to tell you the people I've played with. I'm not even going to tell you the people I taught. Um, I have a demo reel that shows some of my students and some of the people that I played with. But you have to trust me that these chords are the chords that we're playing in the studio. They're the chords that we're playing on the road. They're the chords that people play when they accompany themselves playing guitar. And with that, I'm going to jump off here, and I'm going to upload this and put a link. And by the time you're putting the two together, you're going to have just a lot of chords and a lot of ideas to write songs. All right, you guys, thanks so much for coming by. I'm going to teach all styles off of here. Right now, I want to focus on helping singers and songwriters. So if you want to subscribe and hit that little bell, you can follow me along. But I might be teaching jazz tomorrow or funk or whatever, but you might want to click it so when it says guitar chords or acoustic guitar chords, there are some positions that of beautiful, beautiful chords. Whoa, that's not it. These are kind of dissonant chords. But you may want to use some of these chords, you know. That's a G chord. It's a G note so you can hear it. This is C major. This is an A chord. This is a D chord. This is G chord. This is a C chord. This is an A chord. This is D minor. This is D minor. This is G. This is C. Back to A. To D. You know, we have G. We can get an R&B and step R&B chords. So there's lots of stuff. So that I haven't got into teaching yet, but I'm going to go through it. So anyway, you guys, thanks for coming by. Remember, when you're first learning guitar, it is the toughest part of playing guitar because your fingers get sore, you don't have the motor skills yet, you haven't built up the strength in your tendons, your muscles, your brain's unfamiliar with it. It is absolutely the hardest part of playing guitar. So when you get through this plethora of chords, I don't think you're going to run across anything that is going to require as much determination. I call learning your first chords like boot camp. Like, who's going to fall out, who's going to quit first, because the soreness, because the repetition that's needed, because of the muscle and tendons that need to get built up. These are things that I always tell people, if they make it through their first chords, they can play for the rest of their life, because your you're starting from the ground up, so it's going to, your fingers are going to have to build calluses on the end of them. I mean, this is not, it's not, you're going to have to like, no pain, no gain. Now, don't go hurt yourself if your fingers are sore. Take a break, take a day off, but go back to it, and stay at it. And it will definitely pay you back 1,000 times over. That I promise. Okay, you guys take care, and thanks for swinging by.